You know, sometimes this life can get rough. You get knocked down, but you gotta get up.
Welcome everybody to the 4th episode of Rolling Until Ragnarok's HARROW SPIRE, brought to you by the D20 Cruise. And again, you can see our link in the description, and if you wanted to use our code to get $50 off your tickets or look into other event cruises, there's going to be so many more coming up. By all means, contact us. I'll get you in contact with them. We can get you a decent deal on your tickets, and I know that we can help you get in there and have a lot of fun. We're all going to be there, and so come out and play some D&D or some other ttrpg stuff with us. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a ball. And make sure you get on some of the other ones coming up. If you are any sort of tabletop fan, any sort of card game fan, or just a fandom fan for something in general, they have something for everybody. From I know they have an anime and cosplay cruise, and as well everything all the way up to a 40K cruise where we do a narrative event with a tournament involved. Or if you're just a card game fan, they have Magic the Gathering and Yu-Gi-Oh! Cruises all year round as well. So everything can be done. It's a ton of fun. Look into it. Use the link. Talk to you all soon. But let's get right back into it, because the last time we left off, not on a cliffhanger, but sort of, if you decide that Shallot's quality perception check of a 14 was good.
It was. That's what I rolled, so it counts.
There we go. They were being led out to the vents to get up into the kitchens by their goblinoid friend Nolan, alongside of some of the, I would say the lava runoff at the base of the spire. And up ahead, before they can get to a bridge, Shallot believes that she sees Sir Haddock on the peeking around at the top of a hill. The rocks and everything seem to be telling her that this is what's going on, and we are going to get right back into it from here. So Shallot, this is kind of up to you. Nobody's seen you guys yet. You believe that this is Haddock. All your perception check for you means that you can kind of like hear the voice, the timbre of it, the way he speaks. It kind of has the same motions. This is, as far as you can tell, this is Haddock up ahead. So, yeah, you did pretty good. I mean, 14's a pretty successful roll, realistically, especially for where you guys are at in rolling things. So, by all means, Shallot, why don't you turn to your group, get an idea of what we're doing, and let me know. And on with the show we go.
Oh, exciting. You guys, she would be so, like, I feel like after having been through the whole situation we've been through in the last 24 hours, losing people, fighting things, like, she'd be like, finally, something is turning in our favor. Like, it just feels like we've just been getting kicked down, and so finally she would turn to her group, be like, guys, I saw him. Sir Haddock is right ahead, just straight on the other side of this hill. We found one of the people we were looking for.
Like, we're like, look up, like, wave.
Didn't you also say you saw Sage earlier? When have Haddock or Sage been known to stay in one place?
Well, I mean, he's just right there, so I mean, let's get going. So maybe he can help us figure out where we need to go.
Yes.
Okay.
So, guys, do you feel confident marching forward?
Well, there's the lava. But Haddock waits. Haddock is there. Let's go.
Okay.
Let's go. We need to get to the kitchens to see if we can try to help Gravlax before it's too late.
Yeah, and we still gotta find Sage.
So, it's a small hill. Haddock is up there. How do you approach? That's all I need to know. Other than Peppa, who's screaming and waving, I guess.
Right. I feel like Peppa's gonna be like, "Does my armor look scary? Does it?" Because Haddock likes my armor scary. Does it look scary? Does it
look super, super scary?
Cool.
battle worn.
We could throw lava on it.
I don't. No. What?
I like the no. That was funny.
She's just petting Spoodle and just like.
I feel like with a little pep in her step, Shallot would heroically make her way over the hill. Like, I've finally done something right as a leader, even though I've been a leader for like 5 minutes.
Pepper is right behind her. Just gonna go see Haddock.
As you approach and make noise, you hit the top of the hill and you can see it's Sir Haddock, and he's standing there talking to a very large ogre in front of the small stone bridge that you'd have to cross. And immediately as you guys are getting there, Nolan kind of like stops and hits the ground and starts to like scoot backwards in the dirt as hard as he can, almost to like get behind each of you, like to hide, and starts to like make his way to a rock and tries to like almost grab onto Kara's anything he can grab to like to pull her down with him, almost to be like, no. And before anybody can say anything, Haddock kind of like looks over, because again, Peppa's waving and very large,
Jumping up and down, all of it, like, we are saved.
And the ogre kind of like kirks his head a little bit, and Haddock would turn and be like, "Oh, did you all escape from the upstairs? How did you get down here?"
We need to go. There's no time to explain. Gravlax and Paprika have been taken, getting us out, and we need your help.
My help. He nods to Pepper. And he looks over at the ogre and he says, I can see that I can see the chimera poison was not wasted on anybody here.
Pepper does the whole bird tilt head thing,
I don't. Yeah.
There's like a sternness to his face that I think even like Pepper has. You've only seen this in passing, especially when he's like, when he has moments alone and you kind of like watch him kind of stare into the fire or stare off into nowhere. This is the only time you ever see this, like this part of his, like this way that he looks. And if you were to look over him, you would notice that he's not bruised and beaten or hurt like everybody else has been. He's got his armor on and his clothing, and he is still in one piece.
Oh my God, sir, it's so awesome. You're totally okay. This is so exciting. Before you got captured, it was a lot. And then there was a kitchen, and then we saw everybody. It was just a lot. We're so glad you're okay, but you're okay. Like, you're here. We can go save everybody.
It was, and he's going to say, Pepper, it was a shame that you got caught up in this. We're both raptors, but not what these little hedgehogs or these. Why don't you come over here and stand with us? And he'd put his hand out.
What do you mean us?
Pepper would. No.
What?
And you'd see
I would put your hand in front of Pepper. Like, I don't like how this looks. Like, who's your friend?
Oh,
and
we're safe.
the ogre is behind him, like dwarfs him in size, just so you understand. And he's holding a large, very heavy crossbow on his shoulder. He's got he has all of the markings that he's part of, like the Harrow like army, like the ogre army. His eyes don't look as taken as the ogres upstairs. If you were able, you remember their eyes looked very mesmerized almost, whereas this one, he looks almost like he is most mentally there, but he definitely has that same hunger behind his eyes. And as Shallot, as you put your arm out, Haddock kind of just shakes his head and goes, Pepper, you don't have to be one of them.
One of who? We're all one of the team. We're all one of each other. I don't.
He just sighs. I didn't even mean to have you poisoned. You just happened to roll over at the wrong time that night.
Poisoned?
I think at this point, you could remember the large cut or the large stab in Paprika's back because you investigated her and she was poisoned in a manner.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I think Haddock would launch into just a story at this point. And he'd say, he would start talking about how catfish are known for their beautiful scales, and how they have an uncanny ability to navigate be in the darkest depths because they're able to do all this. And he'd say, but catfish are voracious eaters. And he would just keep talking about how things, and then before he could get into this story where he's trying to tell the story about catfish, you could tell the ogre behind him is like tired and kind of like just like grabs his shoulder, and he's like, and the ogre goes, "There's no time for stories.
Right.
I think you need to go and get back to the king and keep your parts of this bargain up." And Haddock looks back at you guys one more time, and he shrugs, and he says, "Pepper, last chance. Don't be one of the followers."
I don't understand.
Seems to me like you're the one that's being the follower here. Go obey your orders.
But we're on the same side. Why?
Pepper, we're not.
No, he saved, like, he brought me here.
Right, but Pepper, how did he get through all of this completely unscathed with his armor? Remember, they took ours. Gravlax looked way worse for wear. Why is he okay?
Gravlax told me, or I think he told me to save you. I thought he meant you had been captured. But maybe you've been enthralled, or maybe you were never one of us to begin with. But maybe he meant I need to save you from yourself, and we need to put you down.
Nice. Haddock would look back and be like, "You and Gravlax are lazy. And in a fight, Gravlax wasn't enough. What makes you think that you could..." I am one of the newest lords of this place. I'm going to have an entire mountain worth of an army under my control once we're done eating the filth out of it.
You said Gravlax wasn't enough, but I noticed you didn't fight him yourself.
How do you think they got here? You all laid down, the lazy end of the day people you are, and every single one of you were poisoned. You all don't even remember that night. Peppa, if you remembered that night, you would remember rolling over and me apologizing. So now come, be part of the solution to all this. Be part of the way this is supposed to be. You are a raptor as well. It's the reason I brought you here. You are a kin.
A raptor, a bird of prey, a hunter, and yet you skulk around in the dark poisoning people like a rat.
Exactly. If this was the way it was supposed to be, you wouldn't have to skulk around and sneak like that.
A raptor from all your bowstring is supposed to be something of great power. Why would you need to poison people in the night? That seems very lazy for someone of your status.
Right. Just a follower. Like he said, go see the king. Follow your orders. We will take care of our business.
He looks at Pepper one last time, blinks, and then he says, "Okay, y'all are right. It is interesting of my status." And he turns and he looks over at the ogre, and he says, "You and your pet can have them. They're no better than food now." And then he would just start to walk across the bridge, and you would notice a large chimera climb up on top of the bridge behind the ogre and start to shake as shivers fall off of it.
I feel like Pepper would probably just be like in tears. Just, I don't understand. Addict, please.
The last thing that Pepper would hear as he starts to walk across as he starts to make his way across the stone bridge is, "Pepper, your armor did look nice today." The chimera will roar, and we will switch to the map. For those that are just listening, I still will describe everything and go through everything. You don't have to switch to watch anything. If you just want to listen to what's going on, it should be still pretty cinematic, and that's kind of what we're getting at here. But for those who are watching, this map can be found in the links below, and you're welcome to use it. And you can read about where it came from and all that stuff, and I hope that everybody enjoys everything. But anyway, the way we do initiative now is to I was gonna roll for my two guys, and you guys can roll for yours, and whoever has the highest, that side will go first. Sound good?
Sounds like a plan.
Very cool. So y'all roll and let me know. Just let me know. So I got a nat 1 and an 18. So I have an 18 for my initiative.
Oh, you said an 18?
Yeah, I have a nat 1 and an 18. So
I have an 11.
I
I have a 3.
I thought a 14 was going to get it for us, guys. I'm sorry.
all right.
I got a 5.
All right, so we'll go first. The chimera has to take his turn to shake off the shivers.
Oh, God.
And allow me to create them here as they come to be. Our 4 little shivers. And my ogre is going to move back a little bit to the bridge. And he will take his turn to load his heavy crossbow. You'll notice that as he loads it, there are 2 sides that he has to put, and he's going to load in the crossbow, and then he's going to lean down and dip the arrow into the lava so that it's on fire. So on his next turn, he'll shoot. The shivers will move. You can move. The measuring tool will actually tell you the right distance. So my shivers will go ahead and move. They're 30. And they're flying. Okay. That makes it your all's turn. So basically the chimera just shook off the shivers and starts to crouch down like it's going to pounce. And the shivers all kind of fly out towards you. You guys are sitting here. We're on the top of a hill, so if you look at like where the grass kind of leads into the rock, that's a downward little hill to where the small bridge is. Off to the side of the bridge to your left would be a circular area that looks like it used to have some kind of statue there, but now it's just rubble. You can use any of the rubble or any of this like these like bigger stones in the grass as partial cover. That'll give you +2 to your AC as long as you're around them, and if he's shooting at it. Melee, I can't help you, but there you go. That's kind of the setup here. Let me know what y'all are doing.
Y'all.
I think Pepper is a little distraught to deal with the first round of combat. I feel like her first round is just in tears.
I understand.
My Shallot's thoughts would just be to look at everybody and just realize, like, as much as she wants to prove herself and be the paladin that she's supposed to be, like, we barely made it out of the shivers part of this fight. Not how many days ago. Let alone trying to fight a chimera and an ogre. Like, this is not something I think that we can handle.
Nolan is still here. He is over by Kara. He would grab her and go, I can, if you hold off, I can get a skiff and we can make our way away. I need a little bit though. I go. I'll come back. I promise I come back.
How long is a little bit?
I don't know. I have to run. I run now.
Run fast and stop talking. Go.
Yeah. And
Wilbur's
Nolan
clutching his staff. He is visibly furious. And Wilbur doesn't show emotion outside of impartialness and distraught and distress after Gravlax was taken. Wilbur is holding his staff in front of him like it's a club, and he is ready.
Nolan will take off to the west. You're all's west, so you're all's right. And just he like slides down the hill you all just came down and just sprints off. You actually are a little bit surprised at how fast he is, considering he's been kind of like laxy-daisy and very Wilburish so far.
Okay, so Shallot would see him run off. She would turn to everyone and be like, okay, we just need to buy time until he can get back. Let's take as much of a defensive position as we can. Let's try not to have too many of them hit us all at once. Let's see. I feel like her first thoughts would be, okay, we need to make sure we keep our healer safe. So Shallot would take her action to cast barrier on Pepper.
Mm-hmm.
So she would get an additional barrier that gives her 10. Let's see, 10 hit points.
You know, the first time I cast guard was on Haddock.
No.
I know, and she would just be like stroking Pepper's sides, like, you did such a good job. You did such a good job. As like the little barrier of seasonings and spices pops up around here, and we're gonna keep you safe, and we're gonna get out of here, and we're gonna figure this out together. Now just stay with me, Pepper.
Nice.
And while Shallot's saying all that, Pepper, Wilbur's just gonna point his staff at the closest shiver and cast Water Spout.
Mm-hmm.
So you're just gonna see like this dark, murky water just start bubbling out of the end of his staff before like a jet of water hits this guy like right here. I guess the one that's directly in front of Shout, or right in front of this little U shape on the. Where's my little pointer? There we go. This one right here. If he fails a strength save, he gets pushed back 10 feet. I want to try to knock him into the lava.
Nice, good job.
Oh, nice. Okay.
DC 13 strength save.
I was gonna ask too if you could manipulate stones.
I failed that heavy. Yeah. So we're
This jet of water just fires out of my staff, and like I said, Wilbur is not listening to the plan. You're setting Pepper up. Nolan's run off. He's just like, all right, this is happening.
Okay. Yeah. We'll say it hits the lava, and I mean, these things are pretty weak to begin with. Like, so the second the lava touches it, it just melts into it.
I mean, it took 1d6 damage. Like, it took
yeah.
It took 1 damage before it hit the lava because I rolled a 1. But
I mean, yeah.
If that 1 damage makes a difference,
it doesn't. But it's dead. We'll say it does. Fuck it. Whatever. I mean, honestly, just the pushback alone was the beautiful part. Giant water spout just shoves this thing into lava. The other ones kind of make this like sound as it happens. Like it's like this loud screech that they all communicate to each other with. So Peppa is being rallied. Shallot is doing that. Kara, what are we up to? And is anybody else moving to maybe get a better spot or get in better position?
I will once I deal with getting Pepper up and settled. I would try to drag her behind some kind of cover. But I feel like we should all kind of stick together. That's Shallot's thoughts. She doesn't want us to split up too much.
Awesome. And Kara, I believe it is your turn.
Yay. Kara is going to move over here.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's going to cast Fairy Fire on these guys over here. And that means they need a dex save of 13.
Oh. Yeah, the back one made it. The front one did not.
Ooh. The front one kind of glows like this dark bluish color, and attackers get advantage against it.
Fantastic.
And then she's going to cast Shillelagh on her staff and get radiant like a baseball bat again.
Awesome. Okay. Let's see. You'll hear the ogre kind of bellow, and he's gonna just say, Reddick, go ahead, move in. And as he does, he'll take a large shot with this giant flaming heavy crossbow towards you guys. I guess I will aim for the collective Shallot and Peppa. But realistically, I'm just aiming at Shallot because you're the one I can see. I believe I miss you, Shallot, on a 16.
My AC is 16,
Yeah.
so if you're giving that to us, then yes.
Oh no, we were playing Make It Take It, so I guess I will hit you. Okay. I need a bunch of D4s. Give me a second.
You could just use one, just for this time.
No, I don't have to keep rolling it over and over again.
No, just the one roll. I mean,
Okay, so here we go.
Hold on 1 second, right? Since you're targeting that area, I have something. I was trying to get a good read on it.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Attract Projectiles. You leave a warding magic that attracts weapons, projectiles. To strike at your defense, the attack that triggers a reaction targets you instead of an ally, but you gain 2d6 temporary health points.
Oh,
While
so
you're wielding shield, you gain 1 to your AC, and as this bonus, temporary hit points only return applies to ranged attacks
okay.
until the start of the turn. Yada yada yada.
Yeah. So you would roll 2d6 and gain that many temporary hit points, and I'd hit you instead.
Essentially, is what would happen.
Okay. So Shallot, you see this giant, like, fire, this arrow, this giant, like, bolt that's on fire, and it's definitely gonna slam into you. And then right as it's about to hit you, there's like this large, it's almost like it just shifts and slams into where Peppa is, since y'all are standing next to each other.
Oh Jesus, God.
But Peppa,
So
if you want to
that
describe what
is,
your thing looks like.
yeah. So I feel like even though she's kind of in tears, like seeing like this giant bolt like head towards Charlotte, I feel like she'd be like, oh no, oh no, not Charlotte too. And sort of like in that feeling of not wanting it to be her, it would shift over. Like Pepper was like attracting it to her now. So it wouldn't be Charlotte.
How much extra AC or how much extra health did you get, Peppa?
So that was a 7.
Okay. So I do 11 damage. It is 3 of its fire damage. Not that it matters at this moment, I don't believe. But
Right.
but yeah,
So but I still have the 6 temporary health points, and then I think she cast a shield, didn't you, or something?
An additional 10, yeah. So you should have 16 at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Plus the 7
Plus
that I
the
just
7.
rolled.
Yep.
Yep.
So take all that and then subtract 9 from it.
Okay, sure thing.
And let's go ahead and measure some stuff out.
-9.
Did it?
All right, so that leaves me at 14.
Rawr. Rawr.
14 hit points in total, like all your temp are gone.
No, like that's what's left of the temp.
Oh, okay.
Or with the shield, like you have the shield and the temporary.
Oh.
Run to here.
Yeah, you had a ton. You had, like I said, I gave you 6, then I gave you another 10, and then you just gave yourself 7. It's crazy.
Right.
We're gonna keep you alive, Pepper. I'm not gonna let anything happen to you.
You're not looking at the map, are you?
There we go.
I'm just trying to exude the confidence
All
and
right.
positivity into the world I want to see.
Actually, I guess he would probably run the. He'd probably
Your world without that thing right there.
about right there. Okay. So, Ogre went. I'm gonna have 2 of the shivers attack Kara. One's a nat 20,
Yes.
and the other one misses.
Good.
We already took a reaction for one. I don't believe anyone else has another reaction, so I'm gonna attack.
I'm gonna use my interception reaction whenever she does take damage, though.
Okay. Well, she would take 4 damage from the shiver.
Oh.
4 whole damage.
He said nat 20, so I was thinking that it was gonna be really bad.
Right, exactly.
I was like,
It's bad. I only have 18 HP.
And then 1 shiver to attack our boy Wilbur. That's a 12.
you gotta unmute yourself.
12 is my AC normally, but I think my mage armor pushes it to 14.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So it misses.
It misses. It just kind of like scrapes at you before it takes back to the air and kind of circles you. Our big cat moved in. It's your all's turn.
I definitely think a big old bolt to Pepper has definitely jolted her out of. We're still crying over Haddock. It's more of a I should probably survive this first.
Yes. I was gonna say, seeing the bigger threat over towards the side where Wilbur is, I feel like Shallot would be like, Pepper, go help Kara, and I'll move up to get beside Wilbur.
Cool.
If that's, like, I'm not telling you have to do that, but that's just what her thought would be.
No, you're good. Okay, so Pepper would, let's cast Dissonant Whispers on the two shivers that are next to Kara.
Mm-hmm.
So she's gonna, it's a DC save of 12 wisdom. And I guess that kind of looks like her kind of being like, bad shivers, go away, bad shivers.
All right, so what happens when they fail it?
They take 4d6.
Jesus Lord. Okay, yeah, go ahead and roll that
Right?
out.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, the lag, really. Ooh. So they each take 11 damage.
Okay. They do not look like they are in good shape at all.
Oh.
They both kind of like freak out. One of them slams into the ground and then has to like get up and like jump back into the air to fly.
I'm gonna swing on which one has advantage?
The one in the back. The one closest to the chimera. You have advantage on hitting it.
Boop. Okay. So I'm gonna swing on it because it glows and it's pretty.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, pretty.
Roll. It's a 16.
Yeah, you hit it.
Four damage.
Kills it.
I rolled a 1.
It only has 15 HP, so you annihilate it.
I rolled a 1. And that's the end of my turn.
You swing at it and hit it like a baseball bat. You hear the as it just it rolls away into the ground, just lays down and kind of twitches a little bit, but then just stops after a couple seconds.
Shallot will run up to the one that's in front of Wilbur. And I rolled a 20 to hit that one, so I'm assuming that hits. But you
Yep.
would see, too, as like she goes to pull out the meat tenderizer hammer that she grabbed from earlier as her weapon, it would start to like glow, almost like just like that heat that you get like when you set it like on the stove or whatever. It's like she's readying a searing smite too on it as she goes to slam her hammer into it and does 10 damage just from the hit with the hammer, but then the searing smite does an additional 6.
Okay, so yeah, 15 health. You take it out as you hit this thing, and you sear your hammer's head into its back, and then it just melts through as you just cleave through it and pull straight through, and the two pieces of its body just still sailing through the air just and shatter and fly into different directions.
We're gonna say Pepper didn't see that.
Make sure he's okay. And then she would go to like ready to like turn and brace herself, like shield forward for the other.
The chimera.
Yeah.
Wilbur.
Wilbur is going to look up at this big thing in front of him. I'm like, I know I can't take a direct hit from this thing, so let's get clever. And Wilbur's gonna hold his staff out in front of him, and all the water that he just shot that would have been dripping off the end of his staff is just gonna start to turn into mist. And out of the mist, 3 illusions of him are gonna step out next to him, and he's gonna cast Mirror Image And so he's just going to step through this wall of mist and fog that formed from the water that was left behind, and now he's got these illusionary doubles to make him a little bit harder to hit.
Nice. I love it.
He is. And let me see. Yeah, and that's. I'm gonna just move.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna start moving this way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, move to about there.
Very good.
And then I'm just going to, yeah, and then that'll be my turn.
All right. You'll hear the ogre. There's no use. None of you are getting away. I need you for the pots upstairs. And he's gonna kind of like laugh, and he'll fire not a non-fiery arrow because he's not close enough to dip his arrows anymore. At I guess Kara, since she's the one being attacked by the shivers, and he's kind of using the shivers at the moment to aim. So, dang, he misses. It goes wide and just kind of sails into the rock next to him. All right, y'all. And
I was doing something. Sorry.
oh, were you really? I'm sorry. And I'll have our large chimera move in on Shallot. And as it like lands next to you, it just takes one large swipe with this huge it's almost like a lion paw, but it has like, since it's a chimera, when you look, the claws that it has are like these large hooks. It just looks like it, and it looks like they like drag as he swings.
Ugh. Miss me.
That is. Go ahead and describe how you dodge it.
I imagine she would use the pot lid. She had as her shield. Like, she would, just as his hand was coming down to swipe on her, she would thrust it up just so his nails like scratch the outside of the cauldron.
Yeah, this thing just kind of like, the nails kind of like linger for a moment, and then it pads to the ground, and it's gonna breathe in and just roar. And I would need a charisma saving throw from the four of you. We're looking for an 8+.
Charisma save?
Yeah, 8+.
Is this being frightened or anything like that?
This is being frightened, yes.
Okay, so I would have advantage on that. That's why I was asking.
Yep.
I'm immune to being frightened.
I got a 21.
Apparently, Pepper is terrified. I got a 4.
Okay.
You rolled a 1.
Okay, Pepper and Kara, you both hit the ground.
Full spectrum.
Pepper and Kara, you both hit the ground, and I'm gonna make my attack against Kara with the shiver on advantage. It hits and does 2 damage to you. I'm gonna say that, like, because she went prone, it just lands on her back and starts like ripping up into her as much as it can.
Shit.
And it's just it's like a bat stuck in someone's hair, just going haywire.
So you said she's down and Pepper's also.
Pepper and her are both terrified, so they both just kind of huddled up prone for the turn. They just can't do anything this turn.
Oh shit.
So and that does make it your all's turn.
Shit. Wilbur, while I hold this guy off as best I can, go try to help, because she would see Kara and like Pepper like start like doing whatever, and she like, we need to make sure they're okay. Like, I can hold this guy off as best I can.
Yeah, Pepper's probably got like on her knees with like her head to the ground with like her hands covering the back of her head. Be like, there's no scary things here. There's no scary things here.
I'm just trying to do my best to position myself between the chimera and those two.
I think Wilbur's a little too lost in his own anger at the moment. Like he would know that Gravlax would have told him never turn your back on an enemy. He's like in his mind, he's like, we're not letting anyone else get hurt. He's like, they're frightened, but they're okay. Like they don't look like they're injured. Like if they're just terrified, it would be worse for me to turn my back on this guy and then I get hit from behind and then we're all down.
But she
So
has a shiver on her back, like getting Kara does.
I want to hear him out loud say, "Man, that shiver's a bitch." Like I'm just waiting for him to be like, "Fuck that shiver."
he'll turn and look at the one on her back, and like Pepper is a good little ways away from her.
Oh, yeah. I guess I'm sorry. Here, shiver.
Okay.
Yeah, like I said, it's like a bat going haywire, stuck in somebody's hair. This thing is just on her back, just like ripping, trying to do as much damage as possible.
I still don't think I would give up any ground to go back there, but I would attack it from a distance.
Okay.
And so I would use I would hold all four of me, because me and my illusions would hold our staves out and cast water spout. Only one of them actually does damage, but it's just gonna look like he's getting sprayed from water by all sides. So it's a
It fails his strength save. So
okay. So it takes 2 damage and gets pushed back 10 feet.
all right.
So it gets knocked off of her.
It's funny. It takes 2 damage. It has 2 health left.
Oh, yay!
Good.
No, I'm saying it's not dead. It has 2 health left now. That's what I was. It had 4 health left before, and now it has 2. So I'm just laughing.
But yeah, at least it gets pushed 10 feet off of her.
Yeah.
And in this way, we don't have to worry about one of them running up on us. So I'm still going to be holding the line with Shallot.
Does when it moves them, does it prone them or is it just push them 10?
It just pushes them 10 feet.
Okay.
So I guess that's up to you how it would land.
No, I'm gonna say that it pushes it and it takes flight and kind of like shakes itself off and now it's flying again.
Okay.
That's cool. Okay. Shallot, it's your turn to swing.
Okay. Guys, I rolled a nat 20 to hit.
Yeah, you did.
Guys, finally.
Yeah, you did.
Shallot is in her element here, fighting monsters.
Finally. Okay, so let me roll. This is crit damage. Okay, so it's going to take 9 damage from the hammer, just the regular swing. And then the searing smite crit damage. Really? I have 2d6, that's what I get. So it takes another 3 fire damage from the searing smite.
Okay, so
and then while I'm at it, I'll just pump a divine smite into it.
Okay.
Just, as I can.
Yeah.
So then it takes another 15 radiant damage from the divine smite.
Alright, so 27 damage.
So I'm not messing around with this anymore.
So, Shallot, her hammer, she spins her hammer in her hand and then cleaves upwards to slam this thing in the chin. And as it strikes, you said a searing smite first, right?
Yeah, I did the searing smite first and then the radiant.
So,
yeah.
I got it, perfect. As the hammer leaves its chin, you can see the spot where it seared her little hammer, the head of the hammer in there. It lights up gold and goes and just has a huge spray of divine light as the area smells a little bit like rosemary. Smells like cooked chicken right now as the chimera gets slammed on its chin. For
I feel
27 damage.
Yeah, I feel like in that
Yeah.
moment, like, Charlotte would kind of like have a second to just like stop and like be like, she'd never done this before. Like, she's like, is this like my purpose, like fulfilling itself a little bit? Like, was she right? Like, I can do this? Like, oh my God.
That's amazing. And while that's happening, we're gonna go ahead and as you hit this chimera this hard, after it roared, you're just gonna hear the ogre, no, and he's gonna pull one of the bones out of his head, because he has these big bones that are piercing his eyebrow. He's gonna pull one of them out and he's gonna just launch it, like throw it straight at Shallot. And it's this giant curved bone that has blood on it.
Great, cool.
I hit on a 22.
Yes, you do.
And it's gonna do.
Nope.
No.
I'm gonna. No. Oh, what? No.
You're
I'm
frightened.
Ah!
I was like, you're frightened.
I tried.
It's gonna hit, and it hits Shallot for exactly 1 damage. But what it does is it gives the chimera advantage to hit.
That's fine. I mean, it would probably hit her. I don't know if it would pierce. It would just like slight like graze across the side of her face, and she would turn and look.
Yeah. So no, what it is like this giant bone hits, but what it does is it pops and it sprays you with this like weird like this scent, and the idea is that it's one of the chimera's chew toys.
Oh.
So now the chimera has advantage to hit you. So the chimera looks at you and it's gonna go to bite you instead of swing, and it's a 19 to hit with it on the advantage. So the bite does 1d8. So it does 6 piercing damage to you.
Okay.
And you will have to make a strength check on your turn to do something.
Okay.
That's the chimera, and his turn. The shiver gets up. The shiver is gonna fly over to Peppa and attack Peppa. I hit on a 19, and you take 2 damage, Peppa.
Okay.
Shivers do 2 damage. Shivers are there just to be annoying, to be honest. That makes it your guys' turn. As the shiver now slams into Peppa's back, but it kind of like it at first it's a little bit confused about what it's able to attack because she has this good armor on, and then it just gets one good shot out right below Peppa's eye, and then it starts to like realize that this is probably not the person it needs to be attacking, and it looks like it's about to like fly away. Shallot is like has her arm up and basically stuck in the chimera's mouth.
Yeah.
And the ogre is like slamming a bolt back into the heavy crossbow.
Oh God.
Here you all go. Please make your turn. You guys aren't frightened anymore. It's only a 1-turn thing.
Yay.
How much HP does everybody have? I'm trying to figure out if I should.
I'm currently only missing 1. I used all my temp health, and it just hit into 1 of my hit points.
Mm-hmm. I need a strength check, a strength saving throw from you, Shallot.
Me. Okay.
Oh.
So to see if you're allowed to do anything this turn other than just wrestle with this.
I feel like a 19 should do that.
Yes, it is a 15. So
Cool.
you kind of like pull your hand off and like clock it across the nose, and it moves backwards, and now you can take your swing for your turn.
Can Shallot also roar back at it?
Yes, you may.
Awesome.
She goes, ah! But
Just like that. That's intimidating.
Farah is going to yell, everybody get a good look, as she holds her staff up and the 40-foot diameter fog cloud spews out, originating on her point.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Nice.
okay. Where's 40 feet? Here? Okay. Okay, let's see here.
So what I'm hearing is that this thing is now stuck in the darkness with Shallot. That should
At
be
least in the
terrifying.
fog.
You said it's a 40-foot diameter or radius?
It's 20-foot radius. So
Oh,
it's
okay. So
20 foot straight across.
it is to here.
To where?
Oh, the yellow?
Yes.
Yeah.
It would be 20 feet this way and 20 feet this way, yes.
Mm-hmm.
So
There you are.
40 foot across.
Yes, exactly.
Good job. Good job, Kara.
So you guys are all in a fog cloud with a shiver.
Cool. Well, since it's attacking me, I should be able to hit it because I would know where it.
Oh yeah, no. You and it are looking at each other.
Cool. So I'm going to use spiritual weapon on the shiver.
Mm-hmm.
And wait, is that a bonus action? That does say bonus action.
Yeah, it is a bonus action.
It is a bonus
Oh,
action.
snap.
Yeah, spiritual weapon's wild.
I had to look at that. I was like, oh, shit, that's a bonus action. Okay. So I guess so that means I probably really can't see anyone else.
Mm-mm.
Right? Because of the fog cloud.
What kind of dark vision do you have? No, I guess this would be different. This is fog.
Yeah, it's not
Right.
darkness.
It's not darkness.
Just...
Never mind. Keep going. Yeah, you're right. You can't see nobody.
So that's what I was wondering. I was like, I don't think I could actually see anyone.
No, but you might as well swing on this thing with your spiritual weapon.
Yes, I'm still going to do that. I was just trying to see if, should I try and do something else first? Okay, spiritual weapon.
Go.
Let's go. Wow. This lag is atrocious, seriously.
Oh.
It is definitely a 7.
Yeah, it misses.
Dang.
It kind of swings, and the shiver just kind of like loops around it a little bit.
Can I swing again as my actual action?
Not with the spiritual weapon, but with something else.
Yeah, it was something
I
different.
would try.
You could punch it.
Yeah, okay, that's next. Let's see. As an action, I do have talons.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, we're gonna try and hit it with our talon.
Let's go.
Yay!
Pepper.
It's a 13.
That's more than its AC. You hit it.
That's
Yay!
good enough.
How much damage do you do?
We're gonna find out.
Please just do more than 1 damage.
Come on, you got this. I feel it. It's gonna do 2. It's gonna do exactly what you need. 3.
Yeah, you kill it.
Yes.
Pepper, remembering Haddock talking about how they're both raptors is just like, yeah, I have talons, and then she hits it, it dies, and I feel like in my head, in my own headcanon for Pepper's like, I'm the real bird of prey here. Like, there's a moment where you're just a little bit like, yeah, man, I did this, not him.
Yeah, no, that's definitely true. My spiritual weapon is actually a jellyfish. So after Haddock finished his whole conversation about fish, I feel like she would have been that would have been on her mind when she made it. And so she's got this jellyfish, and it kind of reached out and tried to sting the shiver, and I guess it missed it apparently. And then that's when she attacked with talons.
It's awesome. Yeah, no, and yeah, you slay it. You hit it and you pierce it and you pull it out. You can't see any of the blood in the fog, but it just rolls off onto the ground and is gone.
Nice.
Sweet.
Okay. Are you all moving? Are we doing anything?
Oh, I was gonna ask, does an 18 hit the chimera?
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to know before I roll damage.
Yep. Wilbur, what are you doing?
Looking around and seeing that we're all obscured by this fog cloud and being able to hear the commotion and know that the rest of his party is currently preoccupied, he's gonna take a couple steps and get out the perimeter of the fog cloud and look over to the ogre and again, just hatred in his eyes. He's gonna look up and be like, "Where is Haddock going? Where can I find the king? And how do I put an end to this?"
Ogre slamming the bolt, the next bolt into his heavy crossbow, and pulling it up out of the ground. There's like stone work on this bolt. It has ruins on the side of it, and you can see it start crackling with lightning a little bit. This one, is gonna hurt if it hits somebody. He's gonna look over at you and say, "Haddock is going to feed our king. More of your friends, I'm sure. We were on our way to the animal pens." And he's gonna ready the bolter.
I'm just gonna look at him, all four of me unwavering, and I'm gonna be like, "You are not going anywhere." And as a bonus action, he's gonna look back over his shoulder, make sure everyone's still preoccupied in the fog cloud.
None of them can see you.
No,
Yeah. So,
You can't see
as
us
a bonus
either.
action, Wilbur's gonna use Form of Dread. I'm gonna get 1d10 temp HP plus 3. So I'm gonna get, let's see.
This is a bigger moment. So what does Wilbur's Form of Dread look like at this moment?
Ooh.
So as he would have already been starting to do this as he stepped out of the fog cloud and he was addressing him, but his clothes would just start to look heavy and sodden, almost like he was soaked through. Like all this water he's been using is not just being magically produced, but like he's pulling it from himself. Like he looks like he just stepped out of the ocean. His hair is matted down on his face. His clothes are like dragging and sopping and dripping wet. Like he stepped out of this fog cloud, and as he had this conversation, he just seemed to grow wetter and wetter. His eyes kind of darken a bit, and just a little light just appears floating over his head.
Mm-hmm.
Just a little circular, glowing white light. And he's going to look up, watch him level his crossbow at him, and hold out his staff, and he's going to be like, "It's time for you to go." And he's going to fire off a blast, and he's got it. Does a 20 hit the ogre?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the ogre has less AC than the chimera.
He's going to take 5 damage, and he's going to get pushed back 10 feet. As Wilbur fires off an eldritch blast and launches this guy back towards the lava, and he's done talking at this point. He just looks, if you could see him, like his silhouette through the fog, it would look like the shadow of a body floating in the water.
Hmm.
If Pepper could see that, she would have been very impressed. Just so you know.
All you guys inside the fog cloud, it would smell like you guys are close to the ocean all of a sudden. You'd smell the sea air, very heavy salt, and that like there'd be a slight chill that ran up each of your spines.
Ooh.
As you do Form of Dread. Form of Dread, does that cause fear?
Yes, because he took a hit, he does need to
That's what I thought.
Roll a check to see if he gets frightened. What is that check?
I rolled an 8, so
okay. He needs to beat. Oh, okay, yeah, he had to beat a 12, so he is frightened.
Yeah. As he hits the ground, he kind of like uses the crossbow as a crutch, but you would hear him bellow, especially because I believe it's his turn now. Is it my turn now? You all did fog cloud this turn.
I'm gonna use the whack. So
Oh.
I'm gonna step out, use my form of dread, and have all this moment as I shoot him back, and then before I end my turn, still sopping wet, eyes glowing, Wilbur's just going to use the last little bit of his movement to step back into the fog cloud and kind of get out of the guy's line of sight. So for all he sees is this little wimpy kid come out, turn into a sodden body, fire a blast at him that launches him back next to this lava, and then he disappears back into the fog.
Terrifying.
Right. And then what
Nice.
what is how much damage do you do?
Oh, I was gonna say he takes 5 damage from the hammer, so 5 bludgeoning, and then he takes 6 fire damage from the searing smite.
38. Okay. Yeah. So as all that's happening, as the sea smell pours over you guys, you slam into the chimera and rip one of its teeth out of the socket with your hammer. It just goes wide and like scatters, and it kind of like turns its head to like get a better look at you as it goes to pounce and like use both its claws on you for the turn. But you also would hear this large, this ogre bellow after having said that they were going to the animal pens. But you would hear, I don't understand. What is this? Like, because he's now seen this form of dread that you all have no idea about.
Oh,
So
yeah.
he is just, but there's confusion and terror in his voice at the moment.
I feel like Shadow would scream back into the fog, like hearing that. She'd be like, "Is everything okay? Does anyone have eyes on anything? What's going on?"
As you're doing that, the chimera takes 2 swings on you with both its claws. One's a nat 20.
That's fair. That's fair. I gave it. It's fine.
It's a nat 20. It's a nat 20 and a 15. So
15 doesn't hit. So just.
And we can't do anything because we can't see it, right?
right. Okay. So this is gonna be 6, 12, 13, 14, 15. So 19 slashing damage on a nat 20.
So I feel like
Yeah.
flavoring that then would be like Shallot's, I guess, would say her hearing the ogre scream, she would be distracted because she would think, oh, something's going on with my group, as she turned around to try to get everyone's attention, took that giant hit now with 2 hit points left.
Yeah, I would say that it like slams you into the ground, and it's kind of like almost like it's like a cat trying to like play with its prey in the darkness, but it can't find you all the way. So it like goes to bite and like bites some of the ground. And as that's happening, the ogre is down for the moment, and then you all would hear like this, and you'd hear Nolan start screaming, I run this way, and then but there's like this large like as like this it looks like one of those like wind propelled rafts that they use in the bayou, but it's like this big metal sheet like sled with this huge wind turbine on it, and it's just shooting him down the like this area, and it's fairly big, but it's literally just like this makeshift sled that can skid on top of the lava, and he's just like, jump on, and you all have a good like 20 feet of movement to have to get to it, so you have to run and get away from it. The one problem that I would have is if Shallot runs, she'd take an opportunity attack. So Cat has to miss, or somebody has to help Shallot.
Yeah. Because she would be very much, I think, like on the ground at this point, trying to keep her shield in between her and the chimera on top. So y'all would see her trying to get her way out, but she's like pinned.
And I would say that unless somebody can do something to the ogre, specifically, the ogre's also going to get a shot at you all on the way out. We don't really need the map anymore. So I'm going to switch back over to our regular looking thing. And that puts you up there again. But so by all means, please let me know what you all believe you're doing here. And yeah. Those are the two things I just need y'all to think about, I guess.
Okay. Yep. I mean, like, if I don't want to sound like a martyr or whatever, but I know Shallot, if she could be a distraction to have her party get away, I mean, she would be.
I mean, considering that we're still in the cloud, I mean, I have like preserve life, which it would be like a 30-foot range type of healing spell. So like I wouldn't be able to locate you specifically, you know, like I would have heard a noise in that general direction and then kind of assumed it was you.
Yeah, I would have like maybe we could say I could screamed like as I fell, as it overtook me, and I was like shouting for you guys. Because I mean I was genuinely wanting to check if y'all were okay.
While that's happening, Wilbur's stepping back out of the fog cloud, and he's firing another blast at this ogre. Does a 15 hit?
Yeah.
Okay. He takes 6 damage, and he gets pushed another 10 feet back off into the lava.
I'm gonna say he is gripping the edge and climbing on the side of this thing, because even if he was pushed in the lava, it wouldn't do enough damage to kill him outright. So I'm gonna have him scuffle back up. So I'll say that you don't take the shot on the way out. So we've done something to the ogre.
Yeah, just so that this way, at least he's got to spend a turn getting back up.
Right.
Can we say his crossbow got knocked in the lava?
Oh yeah. I mean, he gets knocked in the lava, so yeah, he's gonna have to take his time trying to climb up out of this thing. You guys are gonna be going down the lava way with the skiff, so it's just a matter of, do we have something that you think, or does Shallot want to chance it? And I rolled a hit.
I mean, how much would her healing have given me back? Because I mean, I guess I could just chance
15 HP is what it gives.
Okay, yeah, so that puts me back up to 17 out of 22.
A creature. Wait, hold on one second, because it's a channel divinity thing. Because it's meant to divide hit points amongst people. It says this feature can restore a creature to no more than half of its max over its hit points.
Oh, okay.
So how much is half?
So it would put me back up to 11. So I would get healed 8 because I have 22 hit points. So
that would put you at 11, right? So that means you'd only use 8.
Yes.
Is what you're saying?
Yeah, because I was at 2 before, so I would use 9.
Okay. And so that's 6 hit points left. So I would spread them out to Wilbur and
I'm at full health.
Don't
worry about me.
I was gonna say Wilbur's not took a hit.
Yeah,
well, I'm at full health. I wouldn't know that, remember, because we're in a big fog.
Yeah. As soon as he takes that hit and he goes over the edge while he's trying to scramble back up, Wilbur would go ahead and then drop his form of dread and make his way back into the fog cloud to start trying to help locate, because he would have heard Nolan screaming all this. So he's going back. He's dropped his form of dread. Now he's going back into the fog cloud to try to help find Pepper and Shallot.
Okay.
Actually, he's going to call out, Kara, the ogre's dealt with for the moment. Drop your concentration on Fog Cloud.
Now she's not going to do it because I had a whole plan. That's why we do all these things at one time. I had a whole plan of dropping it, but now she's not going to do it. As she's dropping concentration on Fog Cloud, she's also going to wild shape into a panther, and she's going to run across and grab Shallot by the scruff of her shirt and carry her towards the skiff.
Okay, so I'll take I'll take my attack of opportunity against Kara. Uh, 16 to hit.
Yeah.
Cool. That'll be 9 slashing damage.
Oh, that's fine. We're still running. We're
Yep.
still running.
Yep.
Am I allowed to use a reaction to reduce that or no, since she's carrying me?
Yeah, she's carrying you. Use a reaction.
Because I was going to use my interception so I can reduce it by...
Her interception. In other words, she means she throws her shield up.
I'm always doing that. That's what I got this thing for.
Nice.
Um.
Well, I mean, the rest of us are
Then
running too.
It says I can reduce the total damage by 12. So, I mean, how much did you take again?
Less than 12.
9?
Oh, then you didn't take any.
Yeah. So
Let's say
Nice.
it's Big Paw. It's Big Paw just hits the shield and slashes off. You guys jump on this makeshift metal sled of a skiff with this huge, loud motor. He has no real way to he isn't really able to steer it. It's basically just a giant sled with a huge wind turbine on it. And as you guys jump onto it, he jumps as hard as he can to turn it, and it hits the lava, and it just sends you flying about 150 feet straight down the lava dredge to the other side, pretty far away down this little hill. And we're going to take a brief break right here. So you all jump onto the skiff. It slams you a couple 100 feet, like a couple football fields away down this. He has no way to control it. He looks back at you as lava's spewing up around you guys. And Nolan's like, and you can see like the craziness in Nolan's eyes for the first time. Like, this is his thing. He likes speed. He likes doing fast, like going really fast on this thing. This is something that he's done before. You can tell he's a little bit crazy over this. This is like for all the things that he was doing, and it also explains why he was able to walk so close to the fire and the lava earlier, that he was getting singed. He doesn't care. This is his thing. And he looks back at you all and goes, lean into it! And then, like, as he does it, the whole thing flips, throws you all onto the other shore line, and the whole thing crashes, and he just kind of like stands up and he starts poking through it, and you hear it go as like the huge turbine slows to a stop, and he goes, it was so much fun this time, and he's like rolling around in the ground, like putting the fire out that's on him, and then he kind of like sits up and gets really like down again, and he goes, I did the good thing. I brought you to the side. It completely flips character wise upon stopping going really fast on this thing. He goes, Nolan did it. I brought you to the good place. Okay, you're safe now from the ogre and the big chimera. And we rode my boat. He like grins with his little like 3 or 4 teeth that he has.
Shallot would look at Nolan and she'd be like, what would Paprika do in this moment? And she would try to think of like knightly things to do. So she would walk over to Nolan. She would just put her arm on his shoulder and be like, yes, Nolan, for having saved my party and getting us to this new, better location away from whatever it was we were dealing with before. I now bestow upon you a boon that I will grant you at any point in time. If you need me, she's like, yeah, it's called boon, right? Boon. Yep. Whatever you need me, just call me and I will give you this boon.
Nolan kind of looks around.
Are you able to do that now?
I think that's a part of the manual that I read. I'm not 100% sure, but it feels like something I'm going to do now.
When did you have time to read a manual?
In my training.
Sure.
I made time in between the hours of when I would clean out Paprika's dents in her helmet and the 3 hours a night that I would get for sleep. I made an hour room for reading the manual.
Nolan kind of listens to all this and goes, Boone, thank you. Okay, I call you when I need the pickle jars open. And then he kind of like thinks about it and he shakes his head a little bit and like rubs his snot on his sleeve and is like, and then looks around and goes, where do you still want to go to the vents or where?
He said there were animal pens?
Oh, yes, they keep all of the live, the working animals in the pens up over by the cauldrons.
We still need to make it to the kitchens. We don't know if Gravlax is somehow still holding his own and is still fighting.
Yeah, I feel like I definitely want to get the animals. Like, I'm not saying that the animals are not important. They definitely are. But I feel like having a whole entourage of animals following us into this castle while we're trying to get to the kitchen. I mean...
Oh, I'm not going back into the castle.
Oh, I hit you on a 17. A small acorn flies out of Kara's hair, and you see Spoodle on top of it throwing acorns at Shallot for saying that they don't need to get the animals. And Spoodle looks at you and he like holds up another acorn like it's like he's gonna launch another one.
I'm never allowed to finish. I'm sorry, Spoodle.
And he puts it down for a second, and he steps on it like it's like he just does the little watching you thing.
I feel like after with all this excitement and Pepper's not on fire, I feel like she's gonna hear everybody talking animals. She's gonna think of like Paprika's horse, and then she's gonna think of Paprika, and then she's gonna think of kitchens, and then she's gonna think of Haddock, and she's just gonna start crying softly again, just like
A series of events.
Exactly, like this is just too much.
How do you plan to get her into the castle again in this state? And she's going to gesture at Pepper.
I know, I understand. Like, I understand you, Kara. I do, but we can't just leave them behind. Like, that's not... They've done so much for us, we can't just leave them. But I also don't want us all to be separated. I don't think we need to split up and go 2 separate directions.
I think left.
She would pat Pepper on the back. You still got us, Pepper. We're all still friends.
There's like this small like ting 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 on Pepper's armor that's down by her feet. And when she looks down, it's Barry, the little hedgehog, and he's holding up one of the little berry pouch things that he has to you.
Aww. She's gonna take it and still sniff and be like, you never leave me, right, Barry? You never leave me.
He like gives you a little like stalwart little motion, like, yeah, he's not gonna go nowhere.
That's so cute.
Nolan, watching all this, is slowly trying to turn his skiff over, and it like just breaks in half, and he looks at it and goes, "Oh man, now I gotta find another one. I have to go to the kitchens. That's where they have all these." And then you realize that the skiff is really just a giant serving tray
Oh.
that he's like welded these giant turbines onto.
I want to know where he took his welding classes.
Well, considering there's a bunch of magma, probably wouldn't take a lot.
It's all trial and error, and you can see he's missing a bunch of his fingertips.
Oh my god.
The animal pens are kind of near the stacks. I mean, they're not far away from the stacks.
So they're like sort of close to where we would need to go to look in the kitchen is what I'm taking from this. They're relatively
Well, so the animal pens like are close to where they put all of the stuff outside the kitchen. So like when something needs to be cleaned, you just push it out of the window near the animal pens, and then they clean all that stuff, and then they make the animals walk it back over. That and that's where like so all of us clean the same things at once. It's not super sanitary, but it gets everything done.
But I'm taking that I guess like those two areas are relatively close to
Yeah.
So,
I mean, the animal pens are just out in the open so people can see you when you go over to it. That's why I didn't want to do that direction. But the animals are all going to be brought to the kitchens anyway, it sounds like. So why not just go get to the kitchen and get them?
I was gonna say I liked that plan, or if y'all wanted to go get the animals, we could, if unfortunately, split up, and some people could go get animals and some could check the kitchen. But I feel like kitchen either way. I know Wilbur probably wants to go to look for Gravlex. Makes sense. I'd want to too.
If nothing else, everything they've said has been about feeding the king and eating and making a meal out of everything. I feel like the kitchen is going to be a place where we find a lot of answers. And if nothing else, we can poison the bastard's food.
I don't know. We should all stay together.
Yeah, I kind of think so too. So I would say we aim for kitchen, see what kind of answers we can get, see what we can find. Worst case scenario, we don't locate anything, then I feel like at least it would be a straight beeline shot to the animals. Then we can make our... What does
Good
everyone
thing
think?
we're not a democracy, and I'm not a soldier.
Or you have to come with us. We don't need to be separated.
I mean, I can't
don't
tell
have to go
everyone which
anywhere
way to
but
go.
away.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear any. Wait, what did you both say? I got like two different.
Oh, she can go first.
I don't have to go anywhere but away.
I mean, that's what I said. Is I said I can't force anyone to go any particular way. That's not what Shallot's about. She's not going to tell people what they have to do, but she agrees with Pepper. She thinks we should all stick together. I think that makes the most sense, but in my mind, Shallot's going to be going to the kitchen to see what she can figure out.
Pepper's still going to insist that we all go together. She doesn't want anybody to be like separated or just kind of like
If
left
anyone needs to be
behind.
separated, I can go by myself. I can turn invisible, and I can move quickly and quietly.
That's still separated. Nobody gets to leave Pepper right now.
Pepper is very emotional right now. She's dealing with a lot. She doesn't want there to be any type of separation. She's having separation anxiety.
We've already been separated from the rest of our group.
Which is another reason why not to be further separated.
Nolan would point down this like path that kind of like weaves like very close to the lava, but along one of the larger hills, and it kind of leads back up towards where you guys were fighting the chimera and the guy, but on the other side, so you wouldn't have to cross the bridge anymore. And he says, if we come this way, we can get to the... I mean, you all have to go the same direction anyway. And then we have to get to when we get to the fork in the road, you can choose where you're going anyway, but we should start walking.
That seems like a good plan. Well, since we're all headed in the same direction anyways.
But like the road over there is like just mud and shale, like very hard, brittle stuff, but like, and there's like these mucky parts from time to time that you have to like step around. And it doesn't make a lot of sense because it's like, why is there mud near a bunch of this like very dried out hot magma area? But the mud is warm, and it's kind of like clay that is melting, and they use this to make things here, like around here, and you can see like where big globs of it have been like mined out of this area. And behind it are like these geodes looking things. So this area is kind of pretty, where there's like a bunch of flowing magma. There's also like these like heavy arrangement of like purples and blues and silvers for the geodes behind all this like mud that has been kind of like cleared out. And you can kind of see other goblinoids up off in the distance, up on the side of this like other tower, kind of still mining stuff. They're across this huge chasm. It's kind of like looking over and just seeing workers. They're not looking at you. They wouldn't notice you if they wanted to, and even if they did, they wouldn't do anything. You can tell that they're doing their job and they're kind of stuck here. But and Nolan would kind of like shuffle you along a little bit more. The chasm gets a lot deeper, and you can see these like this smoke pouring upwards into these large columns that are or these large cylinders, should I say, that's up to this area where you can see that one direction you have to kind of like walk downwards along the side, and then there's these big animal pens, but there's also like these huge cauldrons, and you can see like runoff from the kitchen. There's like a fountain of water that almost looks like it is slamming into the muck and the molten rock below as it steams upwards. This is kind of where some of the smoke is coming from that's going up these stacks. And then you have to go up the way to that. But this is the fork in the road that he was talking about. You can see some animals below. You can't get a good sight, like a good view on how many animals there are, but you can hear different different thing like sounds and rustling about stuff. You can also see that there's some elves that like older elves that look like they're chained up in the animal cages as well from here. But this is where so Nolan would turn and go, are we all splitting up, and do I go home now? What is
No, we're all staying together. We all have to stay together.
Now, I think realistically what we should do is, Nolan, do you have, like, if you need to be home, you can go, buddy. Like, you don't have to, I don't want to hold you up.
Just point me the fastest way to the kitchens.
Oh, in the stacks, if you climb up them, you get to the kitchen.
Is there any way I can go and particularly stay out of sight?
I use the stacks to go steal stuff from the pantries.
And they're usually pretty clear?
Yeah, that's how I get my skiffs. He smiles and there's like no teeth in his mouth.
Good. All right, well, we've got a way to go. We need to get to the kitchens.
Okay, so we're all going to the kitchens, and we look over at Shallot.
So I think realistically, like I said, what we should do, and I feel like this is when Shallot would launch into a whole long, drawn-out explanation of what she thought the plan was supposed to be like. Okay, Pepper, we're gonna make sure we go down the list. You've got a list of what we're gonna do for this, right? And she would start trying to, talk Pepper through. She's like waiting for you, like kind of like she's getting the vibe of what y'all are trying to do, but just like keep Pepper distracted with her list.
Yes, I like lists. Lists are very helpful.
Yeah, so step one, what do we do on step one?
The list for Sir Haddock.
And these are the best lists. You got to tell me your list. How am I supposed to make the best plan ever if we don't have Pepper's list?
Okay. While Pepper is explaining this list, I think Nolan would kind of look over at everybody else behind them.
Kara's going to look at Wilbur, and she's going to cast Pass Without a Trace on all of them. And then she's going to wild shape into this dark gray, like, cat, and take off towards the animal pens.
We're just going to kind of nod and shrug, and he's just going to snap his fingers and go invisible. And he's going to go the opposite way up into the stacks.
Nolan will watch this, but he's too scared of Shallot to interrupt her, so he's going to let them talk all the way through it. And then when you guys are done talking about these lists, and you look around and realize that there are two people gone, Nolan's going to say, I think they both went different directions.
I'm just gonna look at Shallot and be like, they left us both. First it was Haddock, and then it was Pepper, and then it was. She's have this whole thing going on, right? And she's like, why does everybody have to leave? They're not even on my team. Are we on the same team? And she's gonna start shaking like Shallot again, like this freaking 8-foot, 4.2-inch bird, shaking, shouting,
like just above the ground, legs shaking. Like, remember your breathing exercises, Pepper.
Nolan's gonna say, I can stay here too, or I mean, I'm from the Adventuring Guild. I can do things.
And she's gonna immediately be like, yes, you stay too. And she's gonna add him to the shaking. She's just gonna, yes, you have to stay.
As he shakes, he just keeps having to stop his nose up with his shirt. But yeah, I guess the big question is, Shallot, are you gonna stay here with Pepper, or are you all staying here and waiting to see what happens, or?
I mean, I feel like that's the best solution, seeing as they both split off and went their separate ways. They need a common place to come back to.
Okay. Nolan would point out that you all could put up some rocks. Yeah, you can hide behind a little bit of the rocks and stuff. Yeah. So you guys kind of make a little overhead thing so that nobody else can see you. And every once in a while, out of one of the you're watching, and you see out of one of the stacks a giant pot or a bunch of runoff slam down it, and Nolan kind of smiles and goes, "It's fun climbing up the stacks and having to dodge all the things."
Oh, is it?
Yeah. And he points to his mouth and goes, "All my teeth lost on them."
That does sound like quite a fun time, doesn't it, Pepper? She's trying her best.
Okay. Let's flip to on that note. let's flip to our gentleman Wilbur, who is climbing up one of the stacks. You have A, B, and C. They all three of them look exactly the same, but vastly different things happen. And if you'd like to roll investigation, I'll give you a little bit of information about them, depending on how good you roll.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Investigation, you said?
Yep.
Okay.
It's just an on-the-fly thing as you're running up. There's the three large cylinders upwards.
17.
Okay. One is a little bit more wet than the others, and it has a bunch of like food entrails and stuff like that and runoff. One definitely has more handholds in it, but there are large like chips out of the stone. Like it looks like things have been slamming into this one. And then the other one looks fairly clean, but it's a lot smoother, and there is more of the steam that pulls upwards in this one.
Okay.
I just need to get an idea of which one you're climbing up.
All right, so give all three of them to me just one more time.
One, on a 17, one definitely is like, it has a lot, it's wet. It has a lot of the runoff of food and blood and like just guts and like pieces. One looks like it would be the easiest to climb, like handhold wise, but it's because there are large gashes and large like chunks pulled out of the pieces of the stone. Like it looks like things have slammed against the side of this one a lot.
Mm.
And then the other one is, and then the last one's just smooth. Like it's pretty smooth. It's got like it looks like you could probably climb it. It also is a little bit more narrow than the other two.
I think Gravelax would be impressed if I came out covered in blood and guts if he's still around, so I'm gonna go up that way.
The wet one?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, man.
It's gonna be like, it's this kind of day.
This kind of day. I need a really solid athletics check or acrobatics check. And I also need a constitution saving throw.
11 on the acrobatics.
Okay. Take a while to get up.
3 on the con saving throw.
Okay. We'll talk about the con saving throw next time. But as far as the athletics check goes, it's going to take you a while to get up. That's all that means. You're climbing for some time. But every once in a while, as you're climbing, all of this it's like spattering of if this is what was left over after the that went down your sink. This is just the excess of like food scraps and pieces and drainage from pieces of the kitchen. Like blood is falling down it and hitting you, and little tiny pieces of bone that are nothing, like they don't stop you. You don't have trouble getting up here, except for pieces of this excess gets on your face and gets like into your mouth. It like runs down your shirt. It really is like starting to soak you as you go. But otherwise you'll make it up to the top, and you can peer in, and you can see that this is like an area that like every once in a while this light kind of flickers open, and they're just pouring the trash into this. This is like where the excess of like extra bones and extra like the pieces of the animal nobody's using that has been soaking in whatever this smell is that it kind of smells like it is vinegary. Maybe it's a marinade of some kind. You can't really tell. It's just guts and marinade and blood. And then there's this side piece that you can see, and it has little goblin faces painted around it. And one of them, and you recognize, kind of look at it, and you're like, it kind of looks like Nolan a little bit. And you realize that Nolan is probably painted, like drawn around his little area. And you climb up into this little cubby, and as you look, you can just see where all the bread and all of, like, it's just this big pantry full of, like, untouched food.
Well, as he gets out, he's just gonna kind of slop some of the extra slosh off of him, but he'll look at himself and he'll be like, "Well, at least that covers up my scent. No one's gonna be able to track me by smell. I'll blend into everything else around here as long as I lay low."
So you're looking around. It's lit up. Like, this is a room. It's definitely like there are breads that are old. Some of them have been aged. There's like aged cheese in here. There's like old now very like unripe, like tomatoes and apples and like all these things that, like, this is food. None of it's meat, but this is food. Like, this all could have been eaten, but it looks like now it's all aged and gone bad, except for some of the cheese and other stuff. But, like, for the most part, this is like an entire room full of food that has gone poor, bad. Like, but it makes no sense because you can tell that at one point this was a beautiful assortment. Some of the breads look like they, like, even though they've aged and crisped and gotten hard, like, you can tell that, like, it was worked on. Like, there are, like, designs around the way the bread was created. There are different colors. Like, there's corn that is being hung from the ceiling. Like, this is a feast. This is more than a feast. This is, like, you could tell this is supposed to, like, serve armies, towns even.
And I look around and see, like, maybe roll investigation, just to see if I can spot anything that looks like a cookbook or any kind of paper, any kind of document, to see, like, shipping on, like, how long ago some of this food was brought in. I do want to look for the cookbook, but I just want to see, like, was there any word on, like, why this amount of food was being gathered, or does it just seem to be like this is the amount of food that the castle had on hand for its everyday use for, like, taking care of it and the staff?
Good question. Roll investigation, and while you're doing that, I'm gonna flip back to Kara for a minute. Kara, you, as your little cat, kind of make your way down around these giant pots that have come through some of the runoff, these huge cauldrons, and you're looking for specifically just the animals, right? Mm-hmm. You kind of go past some of these elves that look, they're elven bodies. These are dead now. It looks like they've been kind of opened up and, like, pulled some of the meat out of them. They're definitely chained to, like, these large things, and, like, some of their hands are still left, but, like, you can tell, like, meat has been pulled off their bones in some places. Some of them have been de-organed. Some of them have been flayed out like a butterfly, like just to get pulled open and, like, pieces of them cooked. Like, it's kind of horrendous as you're walking past, because you're like, this is really weird, because why were they left on these stakes afterwards? And then you can see a bunch of the animals. There's a lot of them. This is an army's worth of animals. This is like a castle's worth of animals So you'd have to go through and find your animals, or just release all the animals. If you were to release all the animals, though, looking at it, it would become chaos. You would have to then figure out how to stampede them in a certain direction, or they would all just start running through pieces of the castle. You can see a ramp that leads up and around back into the castle. You don't really know where this goes, but you get an idea that it's probably pretty close to where the kitchens were, because this is that area of below the kitchens, so it can't be too far away. Some of this runoff is you can maybe go down towards this area, but going back towards Shallot is probably the best direction to get something out of here safely. But even then, that's a very thin walkway. You'd have to really put the animals in a line and like kind of pull them out. The real normal way out would be up here through this part of the castle. So it's a question of, what do you want to do next? Or do you want to try and roll to see if you can find some of your animals while you're here?
I'm going to try and find my animals.
Okay. How
But
would
the
you
ship-
normally go about that?
Normally I would be a elf in doing it, but I'm going to do it as a cat.
Okay.
So that nobody can really see me because I'm a cat.
I feel that.
And, I guess I'm gonna hope I smell something that seems...
Okay. Yeah. Let's do two things. What color cat did you say you were?
a little dark gray cat.
Little dark gray cat. Okay. I was gonna say, because if you're orange, you have a disadvantage. But no, just little gray cat. Because orange cats only have one brain cell and they all have to share. That's why, guys. Don't worry about it. You're thinking this through way too hard, audience. Anyway, dark gray cat. Perfect. Why don't you go ahead and give me a nature check.
The nat 20.
Okay. So as the little gray cat kind of you start to smell, and then you look around and you know that smell. That's a briar. There's a hedgehog. There can't be too many hedgehogs here, like not in the middle of this place. And you kind of like flop around some of the other oxen, some of these larger beasts of burden, and you turn this area, and in the corner you can see these two dogs that are like pushing up against this one crate, and their like faces, like they're like got their face sideways, like you can see they're just like looking at something, and you kind of like scuttle past them a little bit and jump through the little bars, and here in this area is Briar, who has made his way into this little area that's gotten away from all the other animals, and he's got like a couple of these little pistachio nut things, and he's just kind of she's just kind of sitting there looking at these two dogs that are trying to eat her as best, and she's just watching them, kind of proud of herself because she's got a little spot to sit in and these dogs can't get to her at all, and they've given up at this point, but they're still sitting sideways. And every once in a while, as she cracks one of the pistachio edges open, she throws it at the dog's nose, and it keeps going back to eating. And as you jump in as a cat, she stands up and like readies herself, and she has one of her quills out like a sword, like she's gonna fight you.
I'm just gonna sit down because as a cat, I am not going to pantomime to her because I'm a cat. I am too above this. And just back and forth between her and the dogs, and just
She like takes a bite out of one of her one of the little nuts, and just but holds up the thing still. And as she takes the bite, she puts it down, and she grabs it from the back like she's ready now. And she holds it up like a sword, like like in a guard stance.
How big are these crates?
You're in a very little area. Like, the dogs can't get in, but you know, you're like kind of stuck in this little area with her, but I mean, y'all could get out pretty easily. The dogs just can't get around them. You have to go out the other side. She's made an area that she can sit in that other animals can't really get to her because there's no other cats here either. And she's just like hoarded nuts and like little tiny scraps of food, and she's just kind of like making fun of these dogs because they're trying to eat her.
I guess I need to find the other animals. So for a moment, this cat is going to take on the most regal expression of imitating Paprika, her holiness.
Briar will lean in to sniff you. And then
Kara as a cat would smell like Kara, so
yeah. So as you let her, she'll realize who you are, and she'll put her little defenses down. But you would notice that it started to light up a little bit as she held it. And then she puts it down, and then puts the quill down, and then goes back, and then she like starts to gather up a bunch of her seeds and tries to put them in your fur.
I don't think it's gonna fit, but you know, just...
She looks a little bit distraught, and then she looks over at the dogs and throws one of them at him, and then jumps up onto your back and kind of like holds on.
Cool. We're going then.
But then, and she points you out in a certain direction. Nat 20. She takes you to your elk. Thorn, yes.
He does not have all of his stuff. All of my hoarding is not there.
Nope. But you would find Thorn and I almost said Bramble and Briar, and Briar kind of looks at you and explains in the most Briar of ways that Paprika's horse was taken not too long ago up the ramp. And if you were to ask about any of the other animals, he would look very sad and shake his head and not know.
I assume another elk is going to be pretty standoutish, so I could probably stand on Thorn's head and look for another elk antlers.
Yeah, it is in line to be the next batch brought up. They are all chained together.
I need all of my animals together for my plan to work.
All your animals are separated, and it's
I know.
something to think about. Okay. So I think that is a good spot to leave off, so y'all can think about what you want to do, unless, Kara, do you have anything else to do this time?
No.
Okay. Well, then next time we will begin with the infiltration of the pantry and the kitchen. And, oh, no, I lied. You rolled, sir. What did you roll for your investigation roll?
That's 20.
Sorry, my notes are a little bit jumbled this time. There's been some weird technical difficulties. You roll a 20?
Mm-hmm.
See, y'all were telling me about how y'all don't roll really well in this campaign, and then today it's been nat 20s and dirty 20s, and I mean other than Pepper rolling her like 1.
I rolled like 3 11s.
I rolled a 1.
Oh yeah. Okay, so anyway, a 20. You know, talking about what you were talking about, we're looking for. One of the things you do find is there's a flyer on the ground. In the middle of all of this, like, and there's a couple of them actually, like, and it's for a traveling circus. And it's a traveling goblin circus specifically. And it is talking about how it's the Yellow Tops and how they are coming through and bringing all of these different animals and this different excitement. And it says to make sure that you save your appetite because they're going to give you your fill of excitement.
Okay.
Other than that, it looks like.
Is it small enough that I can take and like?
Oh yeah.
Bring with me.
Yes, definitely. And other than that, it looks like It looks like they were getting ready for some kind of giant party. That's what this is. Like you know how much a lordship needs to feed its people, but you also know what it looks like when bread is being made in excess. When there are giant things being made that you can't preserve. So this looks like it was supposed to be for like a really large party.
Okay.
And where we will leave off is on the outside of one of the doors. You would start hearing animals scream and yelp and different things. But the one thing you do know is you can hear Paprika's horse. You know what it sounds like.
Okay.
And you would hear an ogre's voice yelling to hold it down.
Okay, good.
And this is where we will leave off. And next time we will talk about the infiltration of the kitchen and all the other stuff. And hopefully we will save Paprika's horse with our buddy Wilbur. Everybody, you can think about where you're at, please. And again, we'll see y'all next week. We love you. I hope everybody is enjoying our story. And if you're on the cruise ship with us right now, currently watching this, come hang out with us. Oh my God, let's play games. Anyway, see y'all later. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.